I usually go into my city, in my hometown, and while I'm sitting on the bus, the only thing I see is people who's just on their phone and they're like scrolling, and that's what they're doing. And that is one of the reasons why I literally just deleted everything from my phone almost. I still have some apps like Instagram, etc., but I don't use it at all. My phone is really just a library almost. I use Kindle, and same with my MacBook. So this is how my Kindle looks like on the MacBook. And I just use the Kindle app for my phone. I think as a writer, and you probably want to be a writer as well, since you're watching this video, I just think reading a lot of stuff is super important. I specifically think of George R. R. Martin when it comes to like writing, especially, and he's read thousands of books, or maybe not thousands, but a lot of fucking books. He's read fantasy, sci-fi, a lot of historian type of books, War of Roses, Spartans, and he just read widely, yeah. And today people are just, in my opinion, wasting time scrolling away on like meaningless content. It's not like it's not like they're turning their devices into means of achieving their goals. Let's say you have a writing piece you want to finish, and yeah, you just go. Let's say you're tired, you're done writing for the day, and you just find a good book and you read, and you suddenly just start thinking. You just start thinking more. Maybe you come across like an interesting word or interesting concept. You follow your curiosity, and like for example, in my case on Kindle, I have like a fair few training books because I'm very into like calisthenics, that type of training. I'm reading like a book on functional training right now. The point is, like, George R. R. Martin, he read a lot of stuff, very diverse stuff. It wasn't only fantasy, even though he writes fantasy and sci-fi, but he read historians, he read like random things. And yeah, I think just having Kindle as like the main thing you do on your MacBook and your PC, your phone, and you just try to eliminate all the useless, like meaningless activities from the phone. If you have an iPhone, there's certain apps you can't delete. You just have to kind of live with that, I guess. But the main thing is that turning the phone into a library, especially like in my case, I feel like that's been one of the most beneficial things I've done recently. 2026 is like a big like indirect goal I have is to become much more learned and taught, and I want to read. I want to learn a lot of words and a lot of new things, and I feel like there's like a certain novelty that gives to life as well, which doom scrolling and watching a lot of content won't do. You don't. I guess there's some YouTube videos that I find useful. There's sometimes I do watch YouTube and listen to podcasts, etc. Still, I think reading is one of the best mediums to consume, especially since you want to write, and what you write is what someone will eventually read. Hopefully, if shit goes as planned and doesn't hit the fan, then hopefully people will read it. That was really the main point of the video. That turning your phone into a library is a weapon for a writer, in my opinion. And of course, it's hard because you have to remove all of those like small bad habits that you might have with your phone. Maybe whenever you go onto your phone, there's a certain app you always go to. It's like a natural instinct. I've gotten to the point where whenever I go into my phone, like the first thing I often do is I literally just open up my fitness tracking app and I look at my fucking workouts like a sick motherfucker. And I just sit there and that's nice. That's good workouts. And then I just go off and I realize there's nothing I can fucking do, and there's nothing I find fun anymore here, except from going to the Amazon Kindle and perhaps reading a bit of, yeah, just reading. Sometimes I even like lay down on the floor as well with my phone and I just read with, yeah, reading with the Kindle. And also I think that makes me more attracted to Kindle now. Before I used to romanticize reading actual books and getting them from the library itself in my city, taking them home and just feeling the pages, maybe sniffing the pages, and yeah, just feeling like I'm actually getting a lot of shit out from this. I get that it's most likely very useful that as well. People before didn't have any other alternative than opening up a real book. Nowadays, since we have Kindle, the reason why I feel much more pulled towards Kindle is that I have downloaded something called Oxford Dictionary. So whenever I read on Kindle and I just suddenly find a word I want to know, I just hold the word, press the word, hold it, and then it highlights itself, and I suddenly get all of this, like what the word means, and there's different contexts. Suddenly the word can mean different things. Yeah, I find that's very cool in my opinion. And yeah, I think you don't there isn't often I regret having read instead of consumed something online, as a YouTube video, etc. There's often I sort of like, oh shit, I wish I spent that time doing something else, like learning something, reading something, or just doing perhaps more world building or researching something specific to the goals I want to achieve. And I think it all comes down to, yeah, not letting the devices, not letting your phone or MacBook or whatever you use control your life, but steering it towards the things that actually bring you meaning and that you want to do. That's what I've basically done with my like full environment. I live at home, so I've literally just fucking organized my entire room for the sake of improving my writing and, yeah, wanting to read more. I have like the whole Harry Potter book series, like here, as a big inspiration to sort of like, okay, let me write more, let me read more, this is what I'm chasing, something big, doing something big in my writing. And yeah, organizing the environment on the devices, I think it's a very smart move. And reading more, or like when you have this, you pull up your phone and you automatically go to Kindle, you'll just go you go so much further than most people that just open their phone and they waste their attention and waste their time basically. And you'll suddenly just, yeah, I've had that thing, like when I get on the bus, like from home after I've been at the gym, I just pull up my phone and I go to Kindle, and that's sort of become a bigger like habit. But again, like the hard thing is how do you actually stop the bad habits? How do you stop, like let's say you go to Spotify too much. I've had like that problem. I still sometimes do actually. And how do you like change that? You can easily just delete the app, but it's just as easy to install the app back. So I personally think it has to do, I think we have to like sort of think more like, what is the cost of doing this habit? Because most often whenever I, for example, go to Spotify, I always think of like, oh, I want to listen to that nice song. I want to like get this, yeah, I want to feel good. And I just associate that thing with feeling good and I go do that thing. But if I like change that relationship and I add a little like pain to it. It sounds like very sadistic, but I think that fucking works like magic. For example, with YouTube now recently, I've sort of been thinking that I don't want to spend that much time online. I don't want to watch that many videos and spend a lot of my life doing that anymore, because I realized that, oh shit, like YouTube is going to cost me a lot of life if I continue watching a lot of YouTube videos, and suddenly the habit just dampens in a way. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. Hope you got something out from it. Reading is the fucking golden goose for a writer, in my opinion. So yeah, do more of it. Take care.